Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new Tube Duel Original Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're diving straight into one of the absolute giants of the sports world, Real Madrid. It's a seriously fascinating history, so let's get right to it.
So, how exactly does a tiny local team explode into a massive global giant? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But this unbelievable sports empire really did start from the humblest of beginnings. Today, we're going to retrace that journey step by step. Okay, let's dive into this. We're breaking today's story down into 5 simple steps. First, the birth of Madrid FC. Second, the builder, Santiago Bernabéu. Third, the star, Alfredo Di Stéfano. Fourth, the golden era. And finally, building a global brand. All right, part 1, the birth of Madrid FC. To really get this club, we've got to travel all the way back in time to late 19th century Spain. You see, football was actually brought to Madrid by a group of friends and academics. Back in 1897, they founded a group called Sky Football. A few years roll by, and in 1902, Madrid FC is officially born. Then, the real game changer hits in 1920 when the King of Spain, Alfonso XIII, grants them the royal title Real, which just means royal in Spanish. And boom, that is how you get Real Madrid.
Here's a wild little fact for you. The original membership fee was a mere 2 pesetas a month. Literally 2 pesetas. It really highlights just how small the club was at the very start. They just wanted the sport to be accessible for absolutely everyone.
So, the crucial point is that this club moved fast. They played their very first match on March 9, 1902. They chose those iconic white shirts, actually inspired by an English team called Corinthian. And just 3 years later, in 1905, they snagged their first official title, the Copa del Rey. Moving right along to Section 2, the builder, Santiago Bernabéu. Now we meet arguably the most important man in the club's entire history. Santiago Bernabéu was, well, he was everything to Real Madrid. We're talking player, soldier, builder, and president. His connection to the team ran so incredibly deep. He actually started out as a youth player way back in 1912 and eventually grew into this fiercely competitive, goal-hungry striker for the team. But his biggest challenge? That came later on. The Spanish Civil War left the club in absolute ruins. They had no home ground, and the players were scattered everywhere. So, in 1943, Bernabéu steps up as president to rebuild from literally nothing. He personally tracked down old members, talked investors into jumping on board, and painstakingly brought the soul of the club back, brick by brick. The guy took on some truly massive projects. He completely rebuilt the physical stadium, he transformed the club into a slick, modern organization, and amazingly, he even helped found the European Cup competition. He literally laid the groundwork for continental football as we know it today. Okay, part 3. The star, Alfredo Di Stéfano. Because hey, every great builder needs a great star, right? And this is the player who would change Real Madrid's destiny forever.
Meet the Seta Rubia, the blonde arrow. That was the famous nickname for the Argentine forward, Alfredo Di Stéfano. And he earned that name thanks to his unbelievable speed. He had this totally unique playing style, just buzzing all over the pitch and keeping the ball super low to the ground.
Let's quickly map out his early career. Born in Buenos Aires in 1926, he makes his debut for the legendary River Plate in 1945. After crushing it there, he moves to Millonarios in Colombia in 1949 and just scores an insane amount of goals. Finally, in 1953, he touches down in Europe. Now, what's really interesting about this is the absolutely crazy transfer battle that happened next. Both Real Madrid and their fierce rival Barcelona wanted him. It got so incredibly messy that FIFA actually had to step in. They decided the clubs would just split his rights. But eventually, Barcelona sold their half share, and Real Madrid paid 5.5 million pesetas to lock him down completely, an absolutely massive moment in football history.
Which brings us to part 4, the golden era. With Bernabéu running things at the top and Di Stéfano working magic on the pitch, this team became truly unstoppable.
The contrast here is just staggering. Before 1953, Real Madrid was a struggling club, still trying to bounce back from the war. But after Di Stéfano arrives in '53, they instantly become the undisputed kings of European football. His impact was off the charts. I mean, the records they set during this run are almost hard to believe. 5 consecutive European Cups from 1956 to 1960. And Di Stéfano, He scored a goal in all 5 of those finals. He formed this legendary attacking duo with Ferenc Puskás. Oh, and get this. They went completely unbeaten at home in La Liga for 121 matches. Think about that. Years without losing a single game at home. The absolute peak was the 1960 European Cup final. Real Madrid destroys Eintracht Frankfurt 7-3, with Di Stefano bagging a hat-trick. To this day, a lot of people still consider that match to be the finest exhibition of club football ever witnessed in Europe. It was pure magic.
All right, moving to our final section, building a global brand. How exactly did all this historical success translate into the modern mega brand we see today?
Well, first off, you've got to know the names. Here are the famous nicknames you'll hear all the time. Los Blancos just means the white ones, thanks to those classic shirts. Then you have Los Merengues, which playfully compares those white shirts to a sweet French dessert. And Los Galacticos, that literally means the superstars. That one popped up in the modern era when the club just started buying up the biggest, flashiest players on the planet.
And you know what? That strategy worked perfectly. By the year 2016, the club had racked up an unbelievable 86.4 million followers on Facebook alone. Talk about a glow-up. They went from a tiny club charging a 2 peseta membership fee to a global juggernaut with nearly 90 million fans on just one app.
And this brilliantly illustrates what fans connect with today. Surveys show that modern fans strongly associate the brand with superstars like Cristiano Ronaldo, sure, but right alongside him, the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium. It just goes to show that the foundation Bernabéu built is still the very heartbeat of the brand today.
So there you have it. From a small group of friends to surviving the ruins of war, launching a golden era, and building a global mega brand, it leaves us with one big, fascinating question to chew on. After building an empire from the ashes of war, what is the next century going to look like for Real Madrid? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.